and it would seem that we have easterly, sabi nga nila, easterly winds daw. But I think it's promising to be another hot day today, but cool evenings which we welcome. Problema nga lang po, marami sa atin sinisipon. Okay, it's April 8, 2021. As I said, it's a Thursday, and today we have a couple of guests. First up would be Secretary Ramon Lopez of the Department of Trade and Industry, where we hope, with whom we hope we will be able to tackle national concerns as well as personal concerns of people who have been sending us complaints or pointing out problems with the way we are running businesses, and at the same time the government is trying to fight or contain the spread of COVID-19. After Secretary Lopez, we will speak with Dr. Rose Ozaeta, Chief Operating Officer, Batangas Provincial Health Board, because one of the concerns of agenda is to make sure that our viewers who are spread all over the country will have a glimpse, an idea, or we can catch up or be up to date on what is happening in other provinces. Kaya marami pong Batanggenyo kalat na sa Pilipinas at syempre nag-aalala rin sila. From time to time, we go to Batangas, we go to Ormoc, we go to Bohol, we've even gone as far as Zamboanga. And for today, it's Batangas province, and we will speak with Dr. Rose to find out what is the situation. Kasi kami po dito sa Lipa, we are under ECQ for all intents and purposes, and meron din pong curfew dito. Okay, so before anything else, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star and find out what's going on. The World Health Organization has expressed concern over the surge of COVID cases here in the Philippines. WHO is cautious or cautioning us that we are moving towards the red line, where the number of cases exceeds the healthcare capacity. Medyo nahuli na po, okay, ang WHO kasi we have reached that. If that is the only basis for claiming that we are on the red line. The international organization said it's very important to avoid crossing the line. I will make my editorial commentaries later on in the program because may mga bagay po tungkol dito sa WHO announcement na matagal na nating tinatakel, sinasabi. We'll save that for last because we need to front load our interviews. Okay, now, meanwhile, the Food and Drug Administration has approved the use of Sinovac vaccines for senior citizens. This upon approval of the vaccine expert panel. Still, FDA Director General Eric Domingo noted that before vaccination, and listen to this, a person's health and exposure to risk. Kung kayo ba ay malamang at malamang na mahahawa, nasa labas ba kayo, etc., exposure to risk must be evaluated first. We will also comment on that later on in the program. And finally, in a study of mostly Americans, okay, or American patients, 1 in 3 COVID-19 survivors suffered from brain or psychiatric disorder within 6 months. Scientists say this suggests that the pandemic could lead to a wave of mental and neurological problems. So, medyo warning po, no? Warning po sa mga kababayan natin, our viewers, our friends who are watching Agenda. I will be the first to tell you, or I would like to remind you, a lot of us are undergoing so much stress. In fact, earlier today, when Gabi Malyari, our executive producer, and I were setting things up, we did what we try to do, pray before the program. And the prayer was about, Lord, please relieve us of our stress and our defeated spirits. Kasi Marami po. May mga kaibigan ako na nagpo-post na, himutok na yung pinopost nila, galit na yung pinopost nila, and there are a lot of people who are asking me questions para bang mga talunan sa basketball na, Kuyang, mananalo pa ba tayo dito? Kuyang, may katapusan ba ito? Are we ever going back to the way things were before? This is an indication that people are really beginning to be affected. Because Filipinos, alam mo, tayo mga Filipinos, kahit mga ungaw tayo, even if we complain or we tend to, be resistant to certain things or instructions, blah, 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 we are we are not a nation of pasaway. We follow the rules, we conform, and as far as challenges are concerned, sabi nga nila resilient, medyo ginaganon lang natin yung mga pagsubok. But we've never had anything like this. We've never had anything like the pandemic. So it's going to be a bit tough, no? And okay, I'm just getting information that our first interview, Ramon Lopez, is still hooking up. Kasi si Ramon po, if I'm not mistaken, is still recuperating from home. Marami na pong cabinet member ang tinamaan ng COVID-19. Katakataka lang, meron talaga yung bang pag tinamaan, stay home ka, pahinga ka na. Meron naman na pag tinamaan, wala, pa-selfie-selfie pa, di ba? Yung parang nagtatrabaho pa, parang wala, nagtatrabaho atom, etc. May mga matitibay, merong mga mga ika nga na uulitan. And one classic example is Secretary Anyo of the DILG, who I'm happy to report will be, according to what I've read, will be reporting back for duty very soon. Truth be told, muntik-muntikana na po yan si Secretary Anyo. So I hope mapapagbigyan tayo, ma-interview siya, and we will talk about this. Because at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, I think what many of us should do is try to find people we know who survived COVID-19, particularly hospitalization. Kasi alam niyo po, may mga Pilipino na parang sa tawag natin, parang COVID, may COVID, pero they do not have a real grasp, real understanding, and no appreciation of what it's really going to be if you have it. Kasi ito po, nabanggit ko nga sa isang column ko sa Philippine Star, yung isang congressman sabi niya, 4 na araw lang siya sa hospital. Hindi naman siya na ICU, hindi naman siya na emergency, medyo na-hospital lang siya kasi masama yung kutob niya. Nagpa-hospital siya, 750,000. Okay? May kaibigan po ako, God rest his soul, spent 5 million in the hospital, 1 month in ICU, wala na po yung kaibigan ko. Okay? May kilala akong sikat na tao, gawing Pampanga, 1.5 na nakipagbuno sa COVID-19, mabuti na lang na may kaya siya sa buhay. Kasi balita ko naka 50 million po siya. That's only the money part of it, no? It's only the money part of it. Pero meron po yung mental part of it, meron yung stroma sa pamilya, etc. Anyway, I will talk more about all of this later. Let's go to our first interview first. We have Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez. Good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Good morning po sa lahat ng taga-subaybay ninyo.
Sir, pumasok ka na?
Hindi pa.
Wag. Pwede ba? Parang awa mo naman sa sarili mo, sir.
Pero tuloy-tuloy lang yung meeting natin dito sa opisina, sa bahay.
Okay. I'm sincerely concerned for you, Secmon, because alam mo, ako sa sabong, pag yung manok namin naging 2-time winner, nire-retire na namin, ginagawa na namin pambreeding kasi he has earned his keep. Ikaw, 2-time winner ka na, hindi ba? Gusto mo pa rin lumaban.
Di ba, trabaho lang, trabaho lang. At saka praise God that hindi grabe yung virus na dumapo sa atin. Kaya
Mhm.
ano naman tayo naka-recover. Thankfully. Thank you.
Did you go through a second infection or is it a what they call a long haul COVID na umuulit ang symptoms?
Maybe a second infection kasi the other one was parang 4 months ago eh. So,
Mhm.
oo. So, I would assume na ano na yon second. Kasi in between, marami akong negative test kasi nga sa mga
Okay.
meetings sa Malacanang at iba pang requirements.
Mhm. Okay, now I understand there is some technical issue with your equipment there. We will go for a quick break so that pwede niyong maayos ng maigi yan at hindi kayo masyadong mangawit. Hawak-hawak mo yung telepono mo.
Nahawakan ko nga. Natutupa.
Okay, we'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran, your host, and you are watching us via Signal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as on Facebook.com/OneNewsPH. And you can also watch us via YouTube anytime. Just enter One News PH and look for Agenda. Let's bring back Secretary Ramon Lopez of the Department of Trade and Industry. Secmon, good morning again, and oops, microphone, please. I think your microphone is on mute. Okay, we have no audio. Gentlemen, we have no audio. It's one of those days again. Mukhang nako video equipment. Anyway, we will keep trying because there are a lot of questions regarding trade and industry. I guess the first is a status report, a snippet or a quick report on what is the status of trade and industry in the Philippines given 1 year and 1 month of COVID and I don't want to call it recycled, but a second round of ECQ. what would be the situation. Let's try Secretary Mon Lopez again. I hope his audio is clear this time.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, there we go.
All right.
So, Secmon, straight to the point now. You don't have a lot of time. I know. What is our situation in terms of trade and industry as a whole?
It's on the whole, it was supposed to be recovering, prior to the ECQ. But in general, so far, since the numbers that are coming out are yung as of February, yung ating PMI index, yung mga ganon ay naka-recover na sana. Over 50 is the benchmark, and we have reached 52 for the past, I think, 2 months or 3 months already. So mag-recover na talaga yon. Exports we've recovered from the minus 50. We're hitting positive territory, although the last one was minus 5, minus 3%. So parang nakita na natin yung unti-unting pag-akyat. But however, these past 2 weeks, because of the ECQ, of course, Metro Manila is, and the NCR Plus affected again yung mga businesses dyan. We tried to keep open, of course, the essentials, and we've somehow expanded it to the low risk and still essential. Pero maraming industries dyan na nasara pa rin, especially yung mga labor intensive like the restaurants and other services na mga labor intensive. So ang worry lang natin dito, boss, dito ay yung ating yung employment, yung trabaho. But yung sa economy in general going up na sana, pero with this I'm sure mahinto ulit ito, mag-slow down ulit.
Okay, are there identifiable industries or sectors that will not recover or will be seriously damaged by all of this?
Still seriously damaged would be the tourism. Isa yun sa
Oops, nawala na. Ayun, okay. There you go. Okay.
Isa sana yun sa nagre-recover na din as we were allowing already staycation and mobility of people nakakalipat na sa mga iba-ibang probinsya. But again, with this ECQ, hinto ulit lahat yon or pigil ulit. Of course, yung recently, because of this new strain,
Okay.
hello.
New strain.
Because of the new variant, na highly transmissible, ang mangyayari, yung mga dating inopen up na natin ng mga businesses may be considered high risk this time. What do we mean? For example, before, nag-open up tayo ng mga restaurants, even indoor, a lot of indoor activities na hindi naman high risk. But with the with the new strain, baka may pagkadelikado sa ngayon. So if ever we will be reopening, medyo sensitive tayo dun sa mga indoor activities, especially yung medyo poor ang ventilation. So if ever we reopen, baka yung indoor operation sa mga restaurant, unless magawan talaga ng re-engineering ito, engineering controls, but they might be kept closed muna in the meantime. At ang papayagan yung mga outdoor activities. No? But of course, all this, as we speak, since ECQ sa NCR Plus, ito ay mga sarado rin sa ngayon. So
Okay.
ang outlook lang natin, may mga activities na mga ganon, restaurants, right now, even gyms, spas, they are all closed for now. But ang dami nagsasabi na safe naman doon, may physical distancing and all that. But because of the surge, ito nga, ECQ tayo ngayon. So
Okay. I know that you want to reassure. I know the government wants to give people a sense of normalcy as much as can be possible. But is the DTI conducting a running tally percentage-wise of the mortality of business in certain industries? Like sa tourism, is it a 70% sure death? Sa food and dining, beverage, etc., is it going to be 70%? Assuming that we are only operating at 30%, people are saying, nako Cito, baka when everything is said and done, baka 30% lang na previously existing businesses will still remain standing. What is your assessment? Oops.
Napuputol
Okay.
tayo.
Go ahead, sir.
Oo. Yeah. So, meron kami ginagawang survey since April last year. And we were tracking it. But hindi siya by sector, kundi it's really across the board, the SMEs. And um, in the survey, we've seen already yung worst na niya was last year. About 38% ang close to 40% ang nagsara. But over time, as we were opening, it went down to 10, to 6, to 5. And we were hitting already about 4.6. No? Yun na lang ang sarado. Many of those would be in the services, retail, na hindi pa rin sila makabukas in certain areas or maaring completely nagsarado na at lumipat na ng ibang negosyo. Ito yung mga nakita natin na definitely baka hindi na magsasara kasi remember nung nag-DCQ tayo, marami na talaga actually allowed na. But the fact na sarado sila, the thinking is that many of them have shifted businesses and they kept those companies before close already. Pero dito sa mga new restrictions natin, I think mas marami pa munang magsasara muna or really a slowdown. Especially yung affected pa yung these sectors, I think that will really be hit hard or are already hit hard. No? Ito nga sa tourism at yung mga ibang.
So tourism,
non-essential.
tourism, food and
indoor, food, yung retail food, yung indoor restaurant. The manufacturing food is tuloy-tuloy yan. And in fact,
what about transport, Secretary Lopez? Because just the other day, I got a letter that was also sent. That was actually sent to SecBerna, and it had to do with tourism transport groups losing their buses because the banks were basically pulling them out for failure to pay. There are transport groups, and I don't know if the shipping companies or lines are affected as well. Pero how will this impact? Kasi hindi nakakagalaw yung mga bus, hindi nakakaglipad yung mga eroplano, yung mga barko limitado. Will we have a problem or are we facing a problem there?
Yes, we have a problem doon dahil sa limited operations nila. The transportation, if you're referring to that, yun yung some nasara ulit. Wala talagang masakyan yung taong bayan na that are required to work. Pero yung ngayon at least allowed yung public transport. But what I heard is that they will be opening more lines and hopefully even the provincial buses. But given yung hindi lahat nakaka-operate pa sa ngayon, syempre magkakaproblema talaga yung operations ng mga lahat ng may public transport business dahil nga limited yung kanilang operations.
In terms of rescue, what is the DTI planning to do I know the Department of Labor has already set up subsidies, loan windows for private sector employees, etc. As far as DTI is concerned, what rescue plans do you have for those industries that will be hardest hit?
Okay, dito sa DTI, yung ating program na ongoing is really a microfinancing program on no interest and no collateral. So that's ongoing and we continue to invite borrowers, especially those affected by this pandemic. At so far, we've lent out to about over 28,000 borrowers already at saka 3.3 billion na yung approved loans niyan. So it's been growing. But so that's the fund that we have. Galing po ito dito sa Bayanihan to funding. This also covers yung mga tourist sector, tourism sector. Kaya lang ang take out ng loan medyo mabagal din. Ang tingin natin dahil nga limited din yung operation nila, wala ring umihiram din in the meantime kasi pag umiram sila at hindi mako-operate, mas delikado, wala silang pambayad din dun sa hiramin nila. Kaya
Mhm.
I think sila nag-hiatus muna, medyo nagsara muna at ang iniintay na lang nila yung yung panahon na pwede na uli at safe magbukas. So,
Okay.
meron tayong ganyang facility, but hindi lang SB Corp ang meron ganyan. I think even ang iba pang mga government financial institutions ay meron ding mga program for SMEs and non-SMEs, the larger companies, larger corporations, tulad ng mga DBP, Land Bank, at yung Philippine Guarantee Corporation. Nagagaranti din sila ng mga loans para mas pahiramin sila ng mga bangko.
Okay. Now, yung sinabi kong mga daing sa amin, Secretary, if you don't mind, I would just like to bring to your attention because there have been a number of people who are calling attention to the fact that many businesses have not really improved or redesigned their transaction procedures. Given that you have COVID-19 and a more infectious group of variants, people are saying dapat mas online. Now, let me just give you a quick run through, Mr. Secretary. Abroad, if you need to do a transaction, you fill in the form online and okay na. That is with Amazon, Apple, etc. Sa Signal TV, fill in the form, email mo, and okay na basta may kasamang ID and authorization. But there are other companies that allow you to pay through the bank, yung tinatawag nating online banking, kanya lang hindi raw online. Kailangan mong physically pumunta sa mga bangko, there's Meralco and Globe. The bank requires you to go there physically. Sabi nga ng mga tao, sabi ng gobyerno, wag kaming lumabas. Pero pagbabayaran na namin yung aming bills, hindi namin magbayaran online, kailangan pumunta pa sa bangko. And then also to terminate telephone contracts, renew telephone contracts, enroll credit cards, kailangan physical appearance daw. With Shopee, ito pa, Secretary, no, with Shopee, they input your details and they include the credit code number sa likod. Hindi dapat daw yun kinukuha. Lazada, credit card details kinukuha pero hindi ini-store yung code. So, yung the point is that hindi pa rin fully digital yung transactions, nakakadagdag yung exposure sa labas at sa traffic, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, okay. So noted yung mga feedback na yon. But in our actual practice actually, Cito, even at home, we're doing a lot of digital transactions already. Grocery to bank
Yes.
transaction to payment of bills. I'm sure you're doing that also.
Yeah.
Baka kailangan lang nila ng advice how to go through it kasi it's been happening already. Nakakabayad tayo kung hindi bank transaction. Yung bank transfer, di ba? Yung mga GCash, Paymaya. Nagagawa na rin ngayon. Maraming options na. I would suggest na siguro magpa-guide sila. And marami ring training program din sa DTI ngayon, even for SMEs, to convert their business into e-commerce din. At marami nang nakapag-transpose into e-commerce model. Kaya yun yung registration natin ng businesses from last 2019, about 6,000 lang yung may e-commerce. Last, nung 2020, 88,000. So, ganun kalaki yung itinalon ng mga e-commerce registration.
Okay.
So, yun lang. I think kailangan lang sigurong magabayan sila because it's we're able to do it. Yung mga, at the minimum, yung GCash, Paymaya transfer is happening in almost every transaction. And of course, plus the online na nakakonect sila sa even to the bank and credit card.
Okay, so request na lang dito siguro yung yung pag-terminate ng mga telephone, yung sa cellphone ba, to-terminate yung line, kailangan physically daw magpunta ka dun sa outlet, no? In any case, last question, Secretary Ramon. You know that there is now a recognizable number of people saying, can we just have a one-time, big-time, total lockdown? Kasi punong-puno na parang one step forward, two step back tayo sa laban sa COVID. There is a recognizable number of people saying one-time, big-time. Ano ang reaction ninyo if the ECQ is once again extended by another week or by 2 more weeks?
To us, this is already the one-time, big-time lockdown, the ECQ, that will allow very essential businesses to continue because you cannot stop these essential businesses. Hindi tayo pwede huminto ng operation ng food manufacturing or hindi tayo pwede huminto ng yung ginagamit natin, yung internet, mga telecoms, electricity, water. So ito na lang yung mga allowed under ECQ. So in other words, ito na po yung pinaka one-time, big-time lockdown. But what we're saying is we cannot also continue to be on ECQ for a long time. Kaya what we are looking at is a gradual movement towards reopening pa of the next level sector that are low risk. So what we're saying is we have already a system that, di ba, may ECQ tayo, yung talagang very essential ang open. Tapos pagdating sa modified ECQ, which is the next lighter or de-escalated community quarantine, meron uling bubuksan ng mga sector like other manufacturing. Kunwari yung mga factories na basta importante, parati natin sinasabi yung meron silang mga minimum health protocol and all that. Meron na tayong mga initial ganyan. So sila na yung mga next na magbubukas, yung mga low-risk operations. And yet, kahit binubuksan itong mga sector na ito, at least yung allowed to work yan, ina-encourage pa rin yung work from home na 50% at least sa kanila. Except pag factory, kailangan mo physical presence. So, lalo na pag food manufacturing, kailangan nandun sila sa operation. So, pero yung mga office staff, pwedeng nag-work from home. So, may mga ganang arrangement. But what we're saying, pag MECQ, we will move to the next level na magkaka-open pa tayo ng iba pang sector. And in our system, yung ibang sector na ito ay, so yung mga sarado ngayon under ECQ, sila yung mabubukas at 50% muna. So gradual, reopening. So yun yung next level.
Yeah.
And then, pag next level ulit, GCQ, itong mga 50% can now be up to 100% range. But again, these are still the low risk sectors.
Has it ever been discussed, Secmon, regarding, you're talking about 50% work from home, no? May mga nagsasabi na, bakit hindi natin gawin yung mga manufacturing live at work? Kasi yung doon nagkakahawahan, doon may problema sa mobility, transport, etc. And some have said, tama na, kung ayaw natin mag-ECQ, live at work na para we separate those two populations. Quickly, Mr. Secretary.
Correct po. Tama po yun. Actually, last year na ECQ, yun na yung ating in-encourage sa sistema. That's why in many of these operations and exporters, for example, kailangan yung mga tao doon, nagpagawa tayo ng mga temporary accommodation sa mga factories, especially yung mga kailangan mag-operate at so that they can continue to operate na without worries na yung workers nila hindi makapasok. Isang sistema yan na ina-adapt natin sa private sector. Yung leave at work magkakaroon ng accommodation.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Ramon Lopez, and please take time out, rest, 2,000 milligram vitamin C ngayong umaga, 2,000 ulit mamaya, okay? Or I will nag you.
Ginawa natin.
Okay, thank you very much. Good to see you again, and God bless you.
God bless.
Okay,
Mabuhay po.
yan po si Secretary Ramon Lopez, the hard-working Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry. Ayan po, imbis na nakahinga at nagpapahinga, wala, trabaho. That is the problem of leadership and responsibility. There are no timeouts in times of disaster. We'll go for a timeout, and we will have a break, and we will return with Dr. Rose Ozaeta, the Provincial Health Director of the Province of Batangas, here on Agenda. You're back here on Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran, your host, and you are watching us via Signal TV, channels 8 and 250. Maraming salamat po. At para po sa inyo, mga hindi pa nagpapakabit, magpakabit na po kayo ng Signal. Pwede pong combined PLDT Signal TV. Makakatipid na kayo, mas sigurado pa kayo na connected kayo all the time. Let's go to the COO, sabi ni Gab, Chief Operating Officer. Kasi nasanay na ako pag mga government, health director for health, director for this, director general, di pala sa Batangas, ang kanilang titulo ay Chief Operating Officer, Batangas Provincial Health Board, Dr. Rose Ozaeta. Magandang umaga po, Dr. Rose.
Good morning. Good morning po, Sir Cito. Good morning po sa lahat.
Okay, natutuwa naman ako na nakakausap na ako ng health official ng Batangas kasi sa tagal-tagal ko din sa Batangas, sa Lipa, hindi ako nakakagala masyado. But thanks to the internet, we can communicate. Dr. Rose, kwentuhan lang naman po, update kasi syempre gusto nating malaman ng mga ibang Batanggenyo sa ibang lugar. And in the province of Batangas, what is the current situation of the province in terms of COVID-19 and siguro pati na rin sa mga ibang karamdaman because we always keep talking about COVID and then we forget na may cancer, may mga heart disease, etc. What's the situation health-wise for the people of Batangas?
Yes, again, magandang umaga po ulit. So for now po, we start with the COVID. So as of yesterday, April 7, we have 2,834 active cases. And then ang ating mga deaths po as of yesterday again is 144. So in terms of naman mga municipalities po with active cases po, ang number 1 po natin is Lipa. Ito po kasi yung mga cities lagi talaga ang madami kasi syempre alam naman natin sa city talaga maraming tao doon. And then in terms naman po yung ating mga sabi mo kanina, yung ating health status aside from the COVID, number 1 po sa ating leading causes of mortality and morbidity now in Batangas last year, yung ating data for annual is cardiac, no? More of heart diseases po tayo. So, makikita naman po natin, Sir Cito, yung sa mga deaths naman po natin, actually, most of them have comorbidities. That's why ang concentration natin, sabi nga ni Governor, just hindi lang yung ating COVID case at natitignan natin, even those with comorbidities, especially alagaan din po natin. Kasi out of those sa mga cases po natin, is 61% of the namamatay po natin are those with comorbidities. Po natin, yes.
Okay, kasi lagi ang iniisip ng karamihan, yung mga namamatay, automatic lagi, na-COVID. Pero yung pala, inatake de corazon kasi ang lakas kumain ng chicharon bulaklak at barik ng barik o inom ng inom, okay? At saka, in any case, 61% ng mga namamatay sa province of Batangas ay sa mga ibang sakit. Okay.
No, I mean, Cito, yung mga namamatay natin sa COVID, that's natin, 61% of those have comorbidities.
Okay.
Dahil sa COVID pa siya, although siguro na-aggravate with the virus, but then yung sabi natin, yung marami sa kanila is with comorbidities, yung namamatay natin.
Okay, sorry, medyo nadulas yung aking pag-iisip. Nauna yung dila kaysa sa utak. So, may mga tama na. In other words, may mga problema na. Now, paano naman yung ating immunization or vaccination program dito sa probinsya?
Yes po. Actually po, sa atin po kasi, meron po tayo sinusunod itong National Vaccination and Deployment Program of the Department of Health, the National EPF. So, sa province naman po, we have started already the vaccination po natin. So, what we did initially was to do the micro-planning for the LGU. So, dito sa micro-planning po ng LGUs natin, ng province, ating mga 34 municipalities, nag-start po tayo with the master listing. Okay, so sa listing based on the priority groups And then other than that, for the listing po, ano ba yung mga kailangan nilang manpower, logistics, importante po ito. Although we have the vaccines from the national, may tayo ba, may manpower ba tayo, may gagamitin ba tayo logistics. So lahat po ito, nilagay po nila sa microplan nila, and then this was submitted sa national, and then from this po, sa province and the national, so magtutulungan po tayo kung ano natin pwedeng i-provide. So we have already started as early as March, first week of March, so we have started with the health personnel. But unfortunately ngayon kasi hindi natin matapos yung sa health kasi po marami na rin kasing health person natin sa baba na talagang tinamaan ng COVID. So, sila, the rest na exposed, and then the rest positive, so naka-quarantine po, so naka-isolate pa rin. So, yung schedule talaga ng vaccination for the health workers, medyo na-delay po natin. So, hopefully, makarecover po. Kasi, based on experience po, mas madami po ang tamaan po ng health workers ngayon on our part sa government side compared of last year. So, ito po yung nakakalungkot kasi talagang health personnel na natin, both sa hospital and the rural health units, marami na rin po doon ang talagang tinamaan ng COVID.
Okay, ano naman po ang situation natin sa mga hospital? Kasi itong linggon to, actually yesterday, mukhang naging issue na yung directive ng Department of Health na cascading the responsibility and management of triage facilities, mga hospitals. Parang sinabi ng national, kayo naman ang nandiyan dyan, di kayo ng mga siwa, kayo, bahala na kayo dyan kung paano nyo i-handle yung surge ng mga pasyente. Tayo ba sa Batangas Province, ano ba ang situation natin? What is the situation of COVID, health facilities dealing with COVID?
In terms of yung sa ating mga isolation facilities po sa ating mga hospital, kasi po ito at real time, ano? So makikita natin 70%, 80%, pero minutes or hours po yan, nagbabago kasi kung minsan talagang nag-disinfect ka lang, mamaya meron naman darating. So almost, pagka kasi tumatawag po kami, almost full na rin capacity ng ating mga hospitals. Ano po, especially sa isolation natin. And then, mga ICU naman po natin, halos ganun din po kasi talaga marami din nakapila po dyan. So, right now po, ang ginagawa po talaga natin, ang governor po, nagpadagdag na rin po siya ng ating mga isolation facilities, yung mga quarantine facilities natin, para at least yung mga asymptomatic naman ng mga pasyente, wag na pong sumiksik sa hospital, dapat talaga sila sa ating mga quarantine facilities, isolation facilities. So, the governor invested on this. So, ngayon po nagdadagdag pa rin po ng mga, nagpapagawa pa rin ng mga isolation facilities ang ating mahal na governor. Para lang makwento ko lang dito kasi last year
Yes,
po,
ma'am.
we are the first province na nagkaroon ng isolation facility para sa PDL. Ito yung mga persons deprived of liberty. Yun po lainin. So, yun po malaking tulong po doon kasi syempre mga PDL po ito kailangan talaga separate po sila, separate yung kanilang, para may bantay din po sila. Ano po, so, yung na-convert po natin yung evacuation centers, no? Sinabi nga ni Governor, sumunod tayo sa DILG, may memo sila na kailangan ang LGU have to identify at the same time gumawa talaga ng isolation. So the Governor po talaga nag-initiate. So lahat po ng may mga na-identify po mga evacuation centers, ongoing pa rin po ngayon. At the same time po, yung ating mga district hospitals, nagdagdag din po tayo ng isolation buildings. Na ngayon talagang very helpful naman po yan. Ano po, and then not only that, yung mga isolation facility rooms ng ating mga district hospital, may existing, in-improve na rin po yan. So nagagamit talaga natin ngayon yan. So medyo lang nakakalungkot kasi yung mga personnel po natin, kulang tayo in terms of, kasi nga po dapat kasi pagka nasa isolation ward ka, dapat iba na rin yung nag-duty for the regular patients, regular wards. So ito po, but during the meet, sabi nga ni Gov, tugunan natin yan. So we are hiring po ngayon. Naglagay ng budget din po ang governor, nag-approve na siya na we can hire additional personnel para po dito maidagdag po natin doon sa kakulangan po natin. So, for katulong natin dito ang HR para at least pag-recruit ng more employees natin for additional, for manpower, for nga po natin.
Dr. Zaita, you are the premier or the top health official of Batangas province, and I have received two reports. One is that a family could not get a bed, hospital bed here in Lipa City kasi puno na raw po yung mga hospital, and karamihan daw po ng mga nasa hospital din sa Lipa ay tiga NCR plus kasi pinadala na o ni-refer na nung one hospital or nung DOH dito sa mga karatig na mga probinsya yung hindi maasikaso sa Manila or sa NCR. Is this true? And the other is meron pa ba tayong mga meron ba tayong plano? Kasi nabanggit mo nga, Lipa, we are next door to the to the other provinces. May plano ka ba or are you considering recommending to the governor na, sir, medyo walls up muna tayo kasi mukhang nagiging nahahawa na tayo doon sa NCR. Kami nga sa Lipa ay naka-ECQ na, Dr. Zaita.
Yes po. Karamihan po, sabi nga po ng private hospitals po, kasi meron din kami communication with the Private Hospital Association, with the president. So, based sa sabi po nila, may experience po talaga sila na meron mga patients na outside the province. Nanggagaling po yan. So, kumisan po, wala silang magawa, kundi accommodate na po nila. So, yun po yung isang problem po din namin sa Batangas kasi hindi man talaga pwedeng sabihin natin strictly for Batanggenyo itong mga hospitals po natin. Ano po? Yan po, nangyayari po yan talaga karamihan po sa ating private hospitals. But with our government na po, wala naman po kaming experience na coming from the outside Batangas.
Okay, what about yung lockdown or putting a border control? Kasi katulad nga, din sa Lipa, nag-declare na si Mayor Africa na ECQ ang Lipa kasi namumroblema na rin siya. There is a suggestion that baka kailangan ng limitahan ang lumalabas-pasok sa Batangas?
Yes po. Actually, yan po yung siguro discretion rin po ng nasa LGU po natin kasi nga po sabi nga ng ATF, yung mga munisipyo pwede po silang gumawa ng kanilang policies based do sa kanilang situation po ngayon. So they have talaga yung talagang pwede na sila pong gumawa kung ano yung gusto nilang based nga po. Kung halimbawa tingin po nilang mag-lockdown or dagdagan yung ng checkpoint. Especially sa mga borders po natin. Kasama po dyan, of course, ang mga tiga-PNP sa mga meetings po ng mga LGUs po natin.
Dr. Zaita, pasensya ka na. I know you have a meeting and you have to go pero talagang napaka-importante na ikaw ang makausap namin. Dr. Zaita, is there a formula that the province follows na pag ganito na karami ang cases sa isang LGU, ay dapat mag-ECQ na or dapat may border control na, etc. Kasi parang iniiwasan naman ng DILG yung magkaroon tayo ng kanya-kanyang kaharian or everybody puts up his own little kingdom, no? Pero the reality is, if we don't start controlling the inflow and outflow of people, we will not be able to control the infections as well. Is there a formula that you follow in terms of percentage or number of cases that signals border control?
Actually po, in terms of, sasabi natin kailangan ECQ, MGCQ, or GCQ, I think nagagaling po, national kasi po yung nagde-decide on that. So hindi lang po si number of cases ang tinitingnan po. Actually marami po silang criteria on declaring kung ECQ or depende sa status of the level of quarantine. So, sabi nga, hindi lang yung number of cases, but yung capacity din po ng ating mga facilities to handle these cases po. Number of beds, number of facilities, so lahat po yan kino-consider na po in declaring determining dun sa ating status of quarantine. So, usually po ang national ang nagsasabi na kung ito kailangan nyo ng mag-GCQ or MGCQ And the LGU po ngayon, sila po yung nag-request po ngayon kung kailangan na po nilang
Mm.
mag-de-escalate or remain as is. So sila po yung nagre-request na dun sa national kung talagang kailangan nilang mag-change ng status of the quarantine.
Okay, well, Dr. Ozaeta, thank you very much sa pasensya nyo at giving us your very valuable time, and thank you for giving us a clearer picture. Sana naman po ay hindi na lumala ang situation dito sa probinsya. Do you have any announcement you want to make, Doktora?
Yes po, kasi lagi namin sinasabi po doon sa ating mga kababayan, ito po is everybody's concern. Ang COVID po hindi lang concern po ito ng health, ng governor, kung sino man ang mayor. It's everybody's concern. Dapat maging responsible po ang bawat isa. So, sundin lang po, pinakamura po na gamot po sa COVID, I think is yung pagsunod sa minimum health standard. And that is yung mga basic, hugas, iwas, and then yung paggamit ng mask. So pag ito meron po tayo nito, I think hindi tayo makakadagdag do sa burden po ng ating government. Thank you very much.
Okay. Maraming salamat po, Dr. Rose Ozaeta, the Chief Operating Officer, okay, ng atin pong Batangas Provincial Health Board. Okay. Now, from there, we will now go. Sorry, hindi na ako makakapag-editorial. Buti na rin. Kasi totoo lang po, ayoko na talaga mag-editorial kung maaari. Kasi may nasasaktan lang lagi. Meron tayong nasasagasaan. But just a quick reminder. Okay, let's go first to our netizen report. Okay?
Last week, we asked you if you are in favor of the enhanced community quarantine extension in NCR+. Rene Mani believes lockdown is not the solution. He suggests replace members of the IATF who are not medical doctors. Carlos Flores does not buy the thought that we need another round of ECQ. Carlos believes that we need mass testing and vaccines, not quarantine or even tarpaulins. Abby Arcelius opposes ECQ extension because of her business. According to Abby, her salon has not yet recovered from the previous lockdown. She explains, while they're shut down, she still has to pay business expenses such as rent. On the other hand, Raider King Edwards backs ECQ with the condition that he continues to receive his daily wages. He says any lockdown is useless if there will be no assistance from the government. Ezra Fernando Miranda backs the strictest form of lockdown. She adds that we need to sacrifice for the greater good. Herminio Asuncion also expressed support for the lockdown with the strict enforcement of health protocols.
Okay, just based on that netizen report, it is clear that there is a growing number. Kumbaga, ano yun ano ba yung score na yun? 4 versus 2. Di ba? 2 out of 6 ay nagsasabing we support the lockdown. So, lumalaki na rin yung bilang. And of course, my heart goes out to those who have businesses, who have to pay rent, etc. Kanya nga lang po, ito ang problema. No? Kung hindi natin gawa ng paraan na matigil na ito once and for all, darating at hahaba ng hahaba. And if you notice, matagal na po ako hindi nagpunta sa mga mall, but the time that I had gone to the mall early this year, parami na po ng parami ang nagsara. Okay? Unless we control COVID-19, we will continue to see closures left and right, jobs lost, etc., etc. Now, gusto ko lang po itong paabutin sa inyo. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I mentioned it yesterday, your best defense is self-defense. Humanap na po kayo ng paraan para hindi na kayo kailangang makipaghalubilo. Avoid mingling with people. Do the mask. If you need to, do the face shield. But otherwise, just keep yourself busy in your own little bubble as much as you can. If you wanna socialize, may nagtatanong nga, Sito, paano yung birthday mo? Anong gagawin mo? Sabi ko, di problema. Di mag-Zoom party kayo dyan o kaya et cetera, kanya-kanyang bote. Dati na naman natin ginagawa yan eh. We've digitalized our social engagement. So, ang sa akin lang po, your best defense is self-defense. You can take all the vitamins, you can eat all the right foods, yung kaibigan ko, Daniel Deponso, panayang padala mo ng picture sa grupo na nagsasunbathing. Kada umaga po, si Danny, ayun, upo doon sa kanyang terase, doon sa kondo at nagpapaaraw siya. So, you can do your exercise online. My wife does the online exercise with our daughter in Holland. Sa computer, nandoon sila, etc. So, best defense is self-defense. Kasi, hihintayin nyo po yung bakuna, wala pa po. Umaasa kayo na yung gobyerno, papadalang kayo ng ayuda, para makuha nyo lang yung ayuda ninyo, that you have increased your risk by 1,000 times dahil kakapila, dahil kakapunta. Yung labas kayo ng labas, bili, etc. Naku po, wag na. Meron namang online. Ito, nagpasalamat po sa Harvest kay Sol at saka sa mga tiga Harvest out of Manila, pinadeliver dito yung kailangan namin dito sa aming farm, no? So I'm just saying that. Anyway, gotta go. Thank you very much and hope to see you tomorrow. God willing, take care of yourselves. Best defense is self-defense. Defend yourself from COVID-19. Thank you.